my story. I was born in 1965 in rural Louisiana to a single mother. This day and age, that's not such a big deal. But if you think about very rural, very southern Bible Belt Louisiana in 1965, it was a really big deal. And didn't help any that nobody was expecting me. I was a complete surprise to everyone. So always arguing, fighting, physical abuse, emotional, mental abuse. Everything was always my fault. If it weren't for you, I could have done this or I could have done that or whatever. A lot of things put on me. And then I have a half brother and a half sister that they had together that are 9 and 13 years my junior. And I raised them essentially while my mother worked. I had my sister from the time she was 2, so that would make me 11, full-time care when we weren't in school. And then my brother was born on December 11th, and my mother, we got out of school on the 21st for Christmas. My mother went back to work, and I was responsible for a not even 2-week-old baby at the age of 13. So I essentially raised them. My older stepbrothers sexually abused me when I was 9 in the home. And every time I got the opportunity to go back to my grandmother's on the farm, that's where I went. Well, as a young child, I was always sick. I caught every cold, every allergy, every strep throat, anything that came around, mostly respiratory issues. And now as a naturopath, I have learned that we can actually be born with a weakened immune system. And what we don't realize is that those childhood traumas, even pre-birth traumas, I have to imagine that my mother had to know something was going on. I mean, I've had 3 children myself. So I can't imagine not knowing that I was pregnant at all. But I have to imagine that it was not probably a good situation, a healthy situation emotionally and mentally. And I know now she's not a mentally and emotionally healthy person. And that was my wake up call.
Well, what I wrote back on my notes here was, you're the comeback kid.
I haven't had a choice but to be the comeback kid. I call myself relentless because I have to be relentless because I keep getting knocked down and I just refuse to be kept down. And what I tell people is I did my DNA and QUIT was not in it. It's not there. To help balance that brain chemistry, but that I needed to be in therapy. And I went through that list and interviewed every therapist on that list, just like I was interviewing an employee. And I said, what do you believe about this? And what do you think about this? And what's your history on this? And I found the perfect counselor for me, who is now my dear, dear friend, but walked with me for 7 years of healing, sitting at her desk crying, going, why me? I don't understand. I don't get it. Why me? Why me? And I told my kids at the time, my kids would ask me, what is it that Miss Kathy does for you? And I told them, she's like a new pair of glasses. I put on, when I go to her, she helps me see things clearly. And I was seeing things through a distorted view of my childhood. And she helped me to be able to see that hurting people hurt people. Maybe they didn't intend to hurt me. They didn't intend for those things to happen to me. They certainly did not know about the abuse that I suffered at the hands of my stepbrothers, which I always thought they did. Because as children, we think our parents know everything. We think adults they know everything. And I know that they didn't. And so it helped me to walk through that, and it helped me be able to forgive them. And that was really a big turning point for me, was being able to forgive them. I could not stay in relationship with them anymore because everything I built up, they ripped back down. Mm-hmm. And so I had to walk away from that relationship. But I was able to walk through and get healing and freedom for myself. and stop being a volcano. Well, before the pain pills came along, because during all of this, the only thing that the doctor was prescribing for me was antidepressants. And that was to help with the fibromyalgia and also to help with the brain chemistry imbalance from the childhood. But you haven't gotten to, and I know you've read about my next big hurdle. That's when the pain pills came in, was after that. The house, the kids, the job, the whole other thing. So I had always been extremely independent. And that accident broke my sternum, herniated 2 discs in my neck that pinched nerves, ruptured a disc in my low back that damaged my sciatic nerve and damaged both my knees.
Wow.
The accident was so severe that we were trapped under the back of the truck. My husband had to crawl into the back seat and kick a window out with his feet and pull my son and I out of the car to get us extracted from the car. And I spent 5 days on the cardiac ward with them, making sure that that broken sternum had not damaged my heart or my pericardium. And it took 7 surgeries and 12 years of being bedridden and on pain pills and injections to get back on my feet, even with my naturopathic education. So I tell people that I coach, if you're dealing with chronic pain or chronic illness, I can understand it from both perspectives. I can understand it from the naturopathic perspective, and I can understand it because I have been there. I know, and I know what it takes to come back from that. Has been forever altered because of that accident. I have plates and rods and screws in my back and surgery on my knees, but I am at a point now where I can successfully run a business. I can go out and speak and stand on stage for an hour and speak. I have a book coming out later this year. I have several books coming out, a couple collaborations, and my own book coming out later this year. So you can, if you just make up your mind and you get somebody, I tell people, get a coach, get a doctor, get a counselor, get somebody to walk with you, somebody that can guide you. And I tell people, if they decide for me to be their coach, I'm their GPS. You can drive from one coast to the other, and you can get there without a map or a GPS, but you're going to take a lot of wrong turns and delays. But if you have a GPS, that's already been there, that already knows the way, it's a whole lot easier to get there, and it happens a whole lot faster. By the sink, so that I can read it every day and remind myself. I especially had to do that when I was going through counseling, because I had to replace a lot of the lies that I was told as a child. You're not good enough. You're not worthy enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not thin enough. I had to replace all those lies with the truth, and the Word of God is the truth. And so that's what I do every morning. And then I have my prayer time, and then I turn on praise and worship music, and I listen to that while I work. And that just helps keep me motivated and keep me going. So
let's hear a little bit more about that.
Yes, if you think about it, chronic stress, and especially living in this modern society, we constantly have demands on us all the time, all our waking hours, and sometimes in our sleep, we wake up thinking about those demands and what do I have to get done tomorrow, or what didn't I get done today. So I encourage people to de-stress, to take time to feed your spirit, whether it's with the Word, whether it's doing yoga. I highly encourage people to do self-care. And if you think about it, the cause of most illnesses today is inflammation. Promo. Well, I would love for people to get in touch with me about coaching and counseling. They can go to my website, clamonnaturalhealth.com. And I have right now, my giveaway on there is, what is your body trying to tell you? And it's different symptoms, things like heartburn and headaches, and what those could mean. Not like Google, like if you Google it and it tells you you're going to die of a brain tumor tomorrow. No, maybe you're dehydrated, or maybe you have eye strain and you need to get your eyes checked. Things like that are simple things, because our bodies are always trying to communicate with us. And we don't often hear, or if we hear, we don't understand what our bodies are trying to tell us. So that's my giveaway on my website right now. You go to the website and you click on that, or you click on free resources. It will take you to that, and then you'll get an email, which is a free 1 hour consultation with me where you can talk to me about what's going on. I'll give you some recommendations, some things that I would suggest, and then that way, that's somebody's opportunity to interview me and see if that's a relationship they want to carry forward. So I have those going on. I have a book right now that's also on my website, also on Amazon, called The Butterfly Effect, how everything affects everything, how stress affects our health. And that is on Amazon right now, and it's also on my website as well. I have another one that's coming out that is a collection of articles on chronic illness and natural ways to heal chronic illness. And then my books that are coming out at the end of the year, and they can find those under Elizabeth M. Clamon on Amazon.